Rainer, thanks very much for joining us today, and congratulations on your new position as CEO of International Campus. Just tell me a little bit more about International Campus, the business.
For sure, Richard. I'm very delighted to have taken the office as CEO at International Campus. International Campus over the last years has truly evolved to one of the few pan-European players in the sector, being present in Germany, in the Netherlands, in Austria, and now expanding into the CEE region with its first projects. And I think one of the key aspects is that International Campus is backed by Brookfield since early 2018. And this gives tremendous opportunity to grow the business in continental Europe, which I think is the mission for the next years to do. And besides the territories just mentioned, we are also now starting to look into Italy and Spain, and with the overall objective to have full coverage of the relevant European markets in one portfolio.
How long do you see that process taking? And have you got specific strategic goals as CEO that you want to reach in the sort of short and medium term?
Sure. The mission is pretty simple. A, we want to cover the core European markets. B, we want to build up a portfolio of 20 to 30,000 beds, something like that, to be seen. And this translates into an equity pocket that Brookfield wants to see being invested through the IC platform in the next years.
And in terms of that growth, Rainer, are you seeing that coming mainly through acquiring standing assets, or is this really a development play?
Yeah, the primary target and strategy is to do developments. And but in some of the markets we also look into forward purchases, which means we try to find agreements with third-party developers in an early stage to ensure that the product to be delivered fits into our understanding of the product, so what specs and amenities look like, and finally we need to see how the economics work to make those schemes fit into our portfolio.
There's been a larger focus on residential, on living, on healthcare, on senior living, on micro-living, on student housing. How do you see the sector as a whole?
I think it's pretty much depending on how mature the regional market is you're looking into. Yeah? When it comes to CEE, the focus is pretty much on students, because here is the most obvious demand. When you come to more mature markets like Germany and Austria and the Netherlands, you already see very clearly that the borderlines between students, young professional living, commuter living, extended stay products are facing widening loopholes, or these borders are ceasing to exist. So over the next 3-5 years, I'm pretty convinced that we will see products emerging which have in common the characteristic that serve the requirements of these target groups, and will bring an end to this name-tagging game, student accommodation, co-living, micro-living, or whatever you put on it.
And looking at the sector, how do you see, particularly student housing, the outlook for 2019, but also heading further forward?
Well, I think there are several aspects to be taken into consideration. On the investor side, you still have a lot of liquidity. In most of the markets, money is still cheap, and the list of targets is getting shorter on a daily basis. So from this end, I don't see that the trend of growing demand will come to an abrupt end. And on the side of the tenants, we see still growing figures of international higher education traffic. We have seen strong growth in Erasmus programs over the last 5 years. We still see a lot of influx from China and Asia, and now also into markets which you would have viewed as secondary in the last years, which are now becoming more and more popular, like, for example, Prague or Warsaw, or take Lisbon. Yeah, 5 years ago, no one was talking about Lisbon in the higher education scene, and is now one of the hotspots in Europe. And in the light of this, and also knowing that higher education is quite resistant to economic volatility, I still believe, and I'm strongly convinced, that 2019 will be a very positive year for the sector.
Great, thank you. And I look forward, Rainer, to seeing how this progresses, and particularly how International Campus grows over the next few years.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you.